Hey guys, good morning. We're back. Sorry about that. Hey, again, let me just repeat, you guys. This is Josh with Anchor Really Group. This and my buddy James from Franklin.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey guys, so let's just recap on last week. I shot a video talking about buyers and what you need to do to get yourself set to get ready to buy. We talked about motivation. We talked about location. We talked about pricing. And I ended it with talking about the pre-approval, pre-qualification process. So today we're going to kind of go over that. I have James here to kind of cover that with you guys. So the first thing, James, is everyone uses these terms: pre-approval, pre-qualification. What's the difference, and what do you use?
I prefer pre-approval. Pre-qualification is, in my eyes, kind of worthless. Pre-qualification is where a lender just takes a verbal application with a client, runs credit, and then asks the borrower their basic income and asset situation. Nothing's verified. So the pre-approval is actually where the lender collects the certain documentation and verifies the correct income and the correct assets, as well as anything that was disclosed on the assets that need to be addressed. And that's more of what's a pre-approval and what's good for the market.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So when you do your pre-approvals, what do you ask for? What are you looking for from them?
As I was saying, I take the application. I try to get the client to do an online application. The reason why is because they fill in the information. That way there's no transposed social security numbers or birth dates. And then I collect their most recent pay. Depending on how they're paid, if they're self-employed or not, it might be tax returns. It might just be their W-2s. And then I traditionally try to collect 2 months of bank statements, so that way I can see if there's anything unregular, like large deposits that were given to them by a family member or whomever. And then I work up the pre-approval and the income and issue the pre-approval based off of their comfort level of payment.
Okay, awesome. So one of the things that we sometimes notice happens is once the person gets pre-approved, everything gets set, we go out and we search. Next thing you know, there's a hang-up in the loan. Like something's going on, there's something that's found. Let's talk a little bit about that and why what you do, there's another issue that hangs it up that causes things to potentially fall out, and everyone's looking at you because they think it's your fault. But explain to me what happens with all that?
It's a great question. So I just actually had an example 2 days ago where a client came to me about 3 months ago, and I checked on their credit and their income and assets. And when I ran the credit, I discovered recent bankruptcy as well as some federal and state tax liens. And I informed them they're not ready yet to purchase. They needed to do a few things, like focus on the tax liens. The bankruptcy, there might be some reasoning that we can get around it. And they didn't like my answer, so they went to another lender. They've been in escrow for 50 days, and finally the lender just kind of washed the person's hands and said, I can't work with you anymore. There's nothing I can do to help you. So they tied up a piece of real estate for nearly 2 months when it shouldn't have been. The reason I'm talking about this story is that individual went to a credit repair company and had their credit report wiped, which means they got all the negative stuff to go away. But when you have things wiped, does not mean it's wiped from all records, just the items from the credit report. I'll give you an example. The tax liens. So you have Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. They report if there's any tax liens. You go to a credit repair company, they get it wiped off, now it looks clear. Well, the underwriter pulls a report called LexisNexis. LexisNexis is another way for the back side of the lending world to see if there's any recorded judgments or liens against an individual. So in this situation, that's why it got halted with the prior lender. Another thing is foreclosures and short sales, where I personally have done a pre-approval for someone, never seen a mortgage on there. They said they'd never owned a home in the past 7 years. And then my underwriter gets the file and they pull a report called the drive report. A drive report is based off a social security number. Any foreclosure or short sale that has been under that social security number will be reported on that drive report. And my client had a foreclosure 4 years ago and just didn't mention it and actually lied on the application. So this unfortunately put us in a situation where we had to go from a conventional loan because they had high credit scores because they had everything deleted to now we have to go to an FHA loan. I think the client was a little hurt emotionally because I caught them in a fib. But at the same time, we were still able to proceed with the financing through a government loan. But we were able to make it work. Going to a credit repair company does not mean everything's going to be hidden. It's just going to help your credit scores. Certain things will pop up through other reports that we as lenders have access to.
Awesome. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more next week with a credit repair company with Tiffany Hazlar. She's going to talk about her side of things and what she can do. But just remember that between those two things, you got to find that, make sure that everything's clean on both sides.
Correct.
So after we've kind of talked about these three main things, James, I know why it's important for me to have a pre-qualification, but why is it important for you, for us in general?
Well, you guys don't get paid hourly. You don't get paid salary. So if you're out with a client, you show them 40, 50 homes, spend $150 in fuel and your time, and then all of a sudden now they go to a lender to get pre-approved and you find foreclosure, short sales, they don't show any income on their taxes or things like that, you just wasted your time. Not that they can't be clients in the future and you can prepare them for the future, but it's best if you build that relationship with your client and then introduce them to your preferred lender and let your lender help position them to where they can buy now or they can buy in 6 months or 12 months or whatever it is they're able to. But at least you're not spending your time and your money when they're personally not ready to purchase.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys, like I said, and James echoed it, is we really want to get this milestone completed because it's important, because it really lets you know where you're at, lets us know where you're at, so that we all together can achieve your goal. And it's nothing worse than seeing someone want something so bad, but then I have to tell you that you can't because of whether it's you can't get the loan or there's this that's causing it. So we want to make sure we get everything checked off and done. So when we go out and we shop for you guys, so we can attack it and get you and fight for you and get you what you want. So I think that's about it for the pre-approval process today. But I do have one more question for James, and it's based off of the video I shot yesterday afternoon with everyone talking about we're waiting for the market to crash before we're going to buy because we want to get that great deal, and everyone wants a great deal. Trust me, I love a great deal too, but I want to get James's take on the market and what it's doing, what it's projected to do, and how if you do sit now, how you may just price yourself out.
That's right. So one of the things that we do is we pay for data to prepare us for the future in the lending world and the back end of the lending world for those who sell the loans to the secondary market. And we pull reports from National Association of Realtors, through Fannie Mae, through MGIC, through different corporations that they have analysts that just try to research on where the economy is and where the economy is going. And they're actually anticipating a home growth still continuous here in California of about 1.7 to 3.2% in 2018. They're actually, additionally, they're expecting of about 1.7 to 2%. And then they're anticipating a flat market come 2020 and a possible market correction of about 5%. So if you're waiting to purchase a home, you're going to be waiting until 2021 or so. But if there's only, say, a 4 or 5% market correction in home value, then with rates rising, and so say current rates right now are at 4 or 4.25%, and rates do hit the 5% that they're anticipating over the next year or two, the difference in payment between a 5% depreciation in home value and a 1% increase in interest rate, your payment's not going to change. Yes, you're paying a little less for the home, but you're paying more in interest. So you have to decide, would you rather have a home now and build that equity today and just gamble on a possible risk in a few years of a small depreciation, but then when the market corrects again, your home's just going to continue rising, or wait till the market correction of, say, 4 or 5% in 2 to 3 years, buy at a higher rate, and just pay more for that house. Overall, you're going to end up paying more because interest accumulates on a daily basis. So it's a risk and balance that you have to take, and it's just up to you. For me personally, I'm continuously buying. I think that this is a great market, and I don't see anything wrong with the current real estate market.
Awesome. Well, Well, that's about it for today, you guys. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions about loans or what it takes to get a loan, if you want to get pre-approved, this guy right here, James Gross of Franklin's the man. So, all right, guys. As always, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. If you're looking to buy or sell, give us a call. Love you guys.